Hiya, and welcome back to Sylving, the game that teaches us that, yes, we are a simp. Mayonnaise on an escalator. It's going upstairs, so see ya later. Anyways, let's just hop right in. Why is my microphone shaking so much? Let me tighten that. There we go. Ah, God damn it. The fox scuttles back down the stairs, holding aloft a small bottle filled with the clippings. Oh, God damn it. It's a cold microphone. No, it's being a brat.
I'm glad you didn't get rid of them, Sir Agnar. This will make for an excellent addition to my Sylving collection. Now, if you need me, I'll be in my study for the rest of the night. I got plenty of experiments and documentation to do.
He's gonna pull another all-nighter? He's insane. No, Lord Mikkel. You have to go home. You have your official duties to perform, and you need a proper night's rest in your bed.
What? I'm perfectly alright. I've got days without rest with no adverse effects before.
We both know that isn't true. Last time you did that, you spent an entire afternoon studying a thin metal pot from the Sylving world, which turned out to be a waste of time.
No, it wasn't. The metal was unnaturally thin and pliable. You would have been amazed too if you had an ounce of scientific curiosity. This will only take a few minutes of testing, no more.
The fox sniffs in indignation, again swaying where he stands. The tea is having less and less of an effect by the second. No, your family would never forgive me if I let you do this to yourself again. You must go home. Aaron, I need you to escort Lord Mikkel back home, but it should be back shortly. Will you be alright on your own? Sure, easy enough. I've got some reading to do anyway. About the Schallenhof piece I keep hearing about. Retrieve the book from the table where Mikkel was sleeping and wave it. Good. Then we'll leave right away.
No. Here, let me help you, Aaron. I only need an hour with you.
My lord, listen. You need to go home so you can get some proper sleep.
Oh, pish-posh. I'm fully awake now. No need to be so dramatic.
The fox is talking to the spice rack in a daze, evidently mistaking it for Agnar. His balance is so bad it's a miracle he hasn't collapsed yet. Agnar is forced to step in and steady him by resting their paws on his shoulder. Alright, here we go, Lord Mikkel. Just hold on to me. He pushes the now sleepwalking fox towards the exit. I hurry to the door and hold it open for them. I'll be back soon, Aaron.
Wait, can I at least have some of your mane too?
Hang on, let me try something.
Wait, can I at least have some of your mane too?
There we go. The fox reaches for me futilely as he is gently forced through the door by the wolf. I wave to Mikkel by the door as I watch them walk down the street. I hope he actually sleeps when he gets home. It was fun being out today for a change. It was only for a short couple of hours, but I think I've had enough exploring for one day. I go back inside and take up on some light reading. Shouldn't take much to get a head start on tomorrow's lecture. Oh, God.
The creature was described as being incredibly tall, with a dark, hanging mane, and in the midst of the storm, the family endeavored to recapture the horrible monster. But alas, he died before he was able to swing his sword. He was found cold, dead, without so much as a scratch on his body. Some say it was an Eldor, playing a cruel joke on the fool who was unable to capture him. Or perhaps he didn't see the man as worthy of fighting him. Personally, I have my doubts that it ever happened. If he was alone in the forest, then how could anyone tell he really met it? Regardless, this is a story about our village is most known for. It's talked about to this day, and even in other kingdoms. The attention from the possibility of elders living in these woods nurtured the growth of our home over the past century.
Hiya.
To the point that we've been able to diversify the workforce and expand the fields to accommodate a growing population. And that is why, ever since, we have had a tradition of hunting this mythical beast, believed to still roam these very woods. None have been successful in catching it, of course, but many claim to have spotted it in the distance.
The fuck? Oh my god. Are you okay, Raj? Are you okay?
The goal of the actual hunt is to see who can capture the largest prey, and the winner of the hunt is granted the title Huntmaster. With how much this event has grown in recent years, due in large part to the ever-growing crowd of visitors, the festivities have been expanded to include games, dancing, smaller-scale prizes, and seasonal delicacies and beverages. Now, onto the event itself. The festivities are centered around the staging grounds where the hunters first set off in search of their prey. The crowd enjoys feasting, music, and dancing while awaiting their return.
Okay. Make it stop. It's been hours. Hours of Mikkel going on and on about this village. He's given me no time to breathe or think or digest any of what he's saying. It wasn't so bad at first, but he's got a nasty habit of going into unnecessary detail. It's so bad, I can't even remember the big picture stuff that I'm supposed to be learning. And he keeps using all this jargon too. Names and places I have no context for and likely never will. I've tried asking what those words mean a few times, but that only provokes a new winding lecture on a completely irrelevant tangent. I'm too scared to ask any questions anymore. Whenever I fantasized about getting caught up in an adventure like this, I never imagined it would involve so much rote book learning. I might as well be back in high school. As for when the winner is announced, Mikkel, please. It's been hours. And we haven't even had a break. It's hard keeping everything you've said so far in my head. If we keep going like this, my brain will literally explode.
My apologies, Aaron. I thought that since you were Sylving, you wouldn't have any trouble learning at this pace. I remember to note your current limit for taking in new knowledge. I must say, I'm surprised you have such low endurance for memorization.
Shut up! Rude.
If you'd rather dictate the pace of your education, then we can do that. Do you have any ideas for our next topic?
Finally! I thought he'd never give me the chance. Could you tell me more about those magic rocks from yesterday? It's my first time seeing something like that.
Of course, I was going to discuss them next, after going through the basic history of our village, but we can look at them now.
That was basic history? I felt like I was studying for a master's degree. The fox takes up his satchel and presents me with a small pouch. My energy inverts from 0 to 100 in an instant. I've been looking forward to this all day! Mikkel hands me the pouch and I immediately pull it open, beholding the kaleidoscope of radiant colors dancing within.
Each of these crystals contains a different element reflected by their dominant color. While there are a greater number of crystal types across the world, these are the most commonly used. Red is fire, blue is water, cyan is ice, yellow is light, and green is air.
That's pretty simple. Knowing which one is what will be easy. So how do you use them?
Oh, that part is so fascinating. Did you want the drab, short summary, or would you rather hear the full extent of my knowledge and acquire crystal clear understanding?
The first one.
Theta, so far you have the same time as another YouTuber, so I think you should be okay if you stop at the 1 hour limit, then have another stream for at least 47 minutes.
Okay. Get fucked, Mikkel. And now I feel bad. Mikkel looks both caught off guard and disappointed, but he quickly composes himself and tugs on his collar, letting out some heat. Guess he really wanted to give a whole lecture on magical crystal theory.
There are certain crystals in our world that are naturally capable of storing a specific energy, force, or substance within them. When exposed to a specific metal, this attribute reverses, expelling the stored product. Allow me to demonstrate.
He splays his palm, asking for me to return the pouch of gems. I do so, and he walks towards the window. He then closes the window shutters, darkening the room significantly with only a single stream of sunlight peeking through. Next, he extracts the yellow crystal and presents it and the metal baton from yesterday. Then he simply brings the two together, and the moment the wand makes contact, the crystal's glow intensifies. Oh, shit. R.I.P. Mikkel. You would have loved universities. R.I.P. Agnar. You would have hated Planet Fitness. The effect is soft, radiant, and warm, filling the whole kitchen. It's not as bright as I was expecting, akin to a dim bulb threatening to go out, but it's still brighter than a candle.
This one here is called a sunstone, containing sunlight as its element. You may have noticed larger ones of this variety around town being used as street lamps. They absorb sunlight all day long, and then keep our town lit well into the night.
How do you get the light inside it? He pulls the baton away and the room goes dark again. And like before, the stone's normal emissive glow returns, somewhat dimmer than before Mikkel's demonstration. He pivots the shutters of the window to allow thin rays of light to breach through. He then holds the stone aloft in one such strand. And I can see the light from it is wholly absorbed into the stone.
While there are countless factors that influence how the absorption process works, all that is needed is for the crystal to be exposed to the element it stores.
As a mystical rock gulps down its fill, its luster grows and grows until it returns to its original brilliance.
With enough time and exposure, it will reach a capacity, at which point it will no longer hold any more and become inert, much like any container. I know for this one in particular it's hard to see, but this light crystal has absorbed every ounce of sunlight that's shown on it, to be released at a later date. This logic applies to all the differing elements, though there are some discrepancies in how efficiently a stone can absorb its respective element.
I guess. I don't know. So a fire must be put in an actual fire while a water stone must be submerged in water?
Yes, that is correct, but there's more to it than that. See, if you place a water crystal in a container of water, it will absorb the water out, but only the water. Any other dissolved substance is left behind. This actually has an industrial application as it can be used to gather salt from seawater or other processes that require swift dehydration.
That's incredible.
Water stones are most commonly used to transport large quantities of potable water in a relatively small container, a potentially life-saving innovation when traveling the seas or through hot and arid lands. Just make sure you mix in something soluble before consumption. Such distilled water can actually cause indigestion or, in large enough quantities, intestinal damage.
I feel like the implications of such things would be world-changing. I wish we had these back in my world. So many issues could be resolved so easily.
Yes, they are fascinating things. I've been studying them thoroughly for the past few years, and I've developed a few theories on how they might work on a more fundamental level. But alas, it's not possible to progress without talking with the Ooters. They're dangerous, but they have the best understanding of this magic.
I was going to ask about maybe finding a way to get the crystals to power the gates, but the mention of Ooter again catches my interest. Agnar said something about Ooters before. When you first met, he asks me if I was one. What are they?
Didn't I tell you about them?
He digs through his notes, papers flying to and fro. He fishes out a particular piece of paper and scrutinizing it, eyes darting through the lines in disbelief.
It would seem I've somehow neglected to mention the history between our forefathers, the Ooters, and the involvement of the Sylvings. Odd. It's the most defining period of our history. It was meant to be the focus of today's lecture. How did I get so led astray?
He continues to rummage through his notes, trying to find where past Mikkel might have betrayed him. His first day of learning, and my already lean faith in his teaching skills just evaporated. Seriously? You forgot the number one most important thing you were meant to tell me.
I believe Sir Agnar might have been right.
That you work yourself too hard and need a break? A long one, maybe?
What? No! The opposite. I should have done more and coordinated with him regarding your syllabus. These subjects are paramount not only to your blending in, but also for resolving our initial predicament. Here, let me start over. It all started 600 years ago.
Come on, Mikkel, please, can we do this tomorrow? I feel like my brain is oozing out of my ears.
Oh, but we must cover this today. We can't take the risk of you lacking such critical information. Everyone's been told this story since we were little cubs and kittens. You said yourself, it's the number one most important thing you should learn.
No, damn it! I should have just kept my mouth shut until our next session. I've already used up the last of my brain cells today on those magic crystals. My mind feels like it's burning.
Now let's talk about the...
A heavy knock on the door interrupts him, followed by the heroic visage of Agnar stepping inside, putting Mikkel's ramblings to a halt. He's carrying a big sack through the door filled with who knows what.
Ah, Sir Agnar, you're early. Is lesson time over already?
Agnar sets his sack down and cocks an eyebrow. Oh my god, I forgot about that. Bro. His eyes darting between my distress, Mikkel's good humor, and the evening light filtering through the window. I am actually fairly late, my lord. Construction at the fairgrounds took longer than I had anticipated.
Nonsense, it's not noon.
The fox takes a gander out the window and his cheery expression plummets.
How good is it that late already? Ooh, my brother's going to skin me alive.
He immediately begins snatching up his notes from all over the table and floor, leaving many behind. He crams them and his equipment haphazardly into his bag after putting on his vest. The staging grounds were bigger and more elaborate than usual. Are we expecting more noble families coming for the event? Should I be...
I'm so terribly sorry to cut our time short, but I must get back to home. I'll see you tomorrow, Aaron. And remember to purchase an hourglass the next time I visit.
Another one? But don't you already have one in your... Too late. He's already out of the house, shutting the door behind him. Man, he really is just a bundle of energy when he's not sleep-deprived. I don't understand how he can talk for hours on end and then just sprint out the door like he's at an Olympic event. Apologies for the delay. I didn't think it would take so long to get back. Don't worry about it. You arrived just in the nick of time. Had he gone on another minute, I think my brain might have sprouted legs and run for the hills. It wasn't that bad, was it? Oh no, it was bad. Never ask Mikkel anything to do with history. He kept going on without a second to even breathe. Agnar snickers in complete understanding. He can get carried away when it comes to sharing his knowledge. I think he forgets just how vast and thorough his education is compared to most. Just keep reminding him whenever you need a break. You may have noticed, but he doesn't have the best sense of time. No kidding. Thanks for the advice. I'll remember that. One of us has to. Now that your time with Lord Mikkel is done for the day, we'll go and do some training. That should help clear your mind after a tough session like that. When you're ready, we'll head out and I'll show you to the grounds where we'll conduct today's lesson. I will take responsibility for teaching how to properly use your new lion physique. Great, I've been itching to stretch my legs all day. Alright then, we'll leave right away. Agnar hoists up his cargo again and holds the door open for me. I pose a question as I step out and down the steps. What do you got in the sack? Looks heavy.
It's time to drink water.
From the morning labors.
It's time to drink water. It's time to drink water. It's time to drink water.
They're actually stored where we're going, so we won't need to make any detours. The streets are bustling as always. I look to both sides of the crowd to see if there's any room for us to slip through. Agnar's a big fella. I'd prefer it if he didn't have to huddle. While he's locking up, I take note of the big crystal hanging right beside me. The setup is just like any house light you'd see back home, except instead of a light bulb, there's a big rock. How could I have missed this before? It's pretty big, about the size of a watermelon. Mikkel said they need time to absorb the light. If they emit all night long, then they probably need the whole day to recharge too. Reminds me of the solar panel problem. They only charge during the day, so you need to stockpile all you can get for the following night. I actually worked with solar panels a few times at the tech store, but there's some similarities between them, even if in a magical sort of way. As we walk down the street, a few people cast glances at me. It's not as obvious or as many as before, so it's easy to just ignore them. Finally, just one of the crowd. It's astonishingly how capricious public opinion can be. I get the sense it would only take a minor slip-up to wind up back at square one. But no more of that today. I'm getting hands-on training from the legend himself, Agnar, the fabled werewolf warrior of Dalset. Oh, I'm so excited. I think back to when I first met Mikkel and that almost unnatural speed at which he fled from me. If he could run at that speed, despite presumably being an unfit noble, then I must be able to manage the same now that I'm a deer like them. But I'm a lion, man, so maybe instead of primal speed, it's feline reflexes and dexterity. Can I leap like a cat, always land on my feet? Will I be able to sprint up walls, cling from the nearest ledges, and balance on a post like a kung fu master? They call it parkour, right? Superhuman, lion-like parkour. That sounds like a neat superpower. I can be happy with that. Agnar can keep the super strength for himself. I grinned to myself, looking forward to whatever Agnar has planned for me. Took him all day and some of yesterday too. I bet it's an obstacle course. With like rolling logs suspended in water, a maze of spinning boards, a wall running section, and a field of posts that I'll have to leap over while he throws water balloons at me or something. Whatever it is, it's gotta be more fun than Mikkel's endless history lesson. After crossing the bridge, we take a sudden turn to the left where the road splits into two. We're approaching a small hill, and I get the sense our destination is just on the other side. My anticipation grows. I can barely contain any excitement in what's for storing me, and... We clear the hill only to be met with a janky old house on a questionable raised foundation. It's... seen better days. Seen better days. It doesn't look like anyone's lived here in a very long time, in complete disrepair. Looks as though one moderate gust of wind would blow the whole thing over. Here we are. This is where we'll conduct our training.
This? This actual shack that's not fit for anything but demolition? When he said we're going to a training ground, I was at least expecting a place where the local warriors spar or an archery range or something. This is just some hermit's backyard. Are you sure we should train here? It doesn't look all that safe of a place to do it.
Yes, Aaron. I've been using this place myself for my own training for the past 5 years. You'll be fine as long as you don't climb inside the building.
But it looks deserted. What is it even supposed to be?
It was a barn that was abandoned long before I arrived at the village, but is free for anyone to use. He ducks into the space under the house and stores the sack inside, only to return with a shovel he fished out from it. The farmers use it to store older, worn equipment they aren't using anymore. Anyone's free to come by and borrow what's inside. He drags the shovel across the ground, walking backwards as he makes a straight line in the dirt that is several meters long. First, we need to carefully figure out exactly why you're having so much trouble walking. I assume that you did not have issue in your previous form? Yeah, I didn't have any disabilities. Walking was easy. Wouldn't say I was the most graceful about it, but it's not like I was turning heads or falling over all the time. Alright then, let's see what you can do. He gestures to the line and my eyes dart from him to it, and back again. Walk the full length of that line, one step in front of the other as steadily as you can. You must be joking. No, I am not. This is where we shall start. I'm not that hopeless. I know how to walk. Your walk doesn't look natural, and more importantly, you don't walk like a noble should. The excuse that your illness has impaired your stance is quickly wearing thin. Everyone has seen how quickly you've recovered now.
Hey, yeah, why are we telling everyone I'm a noble? Isn't that an unnecessary and risky detail?
There's a number of reasons, but chief among them is that you're a lion. What does that have to do with anything? Most lions in this and the neighboring kingdoms are nobles, or have deep connections to them. Everyone assuming you are one is a matter of course.
Seriously? I just happened to roll the most gilded species in the world. Why couldn't I be a ferret? Oh, hiya.
Given your circumstances and that everyone already knew you were connected to Lord Mikkel, the only sensible choice was to make you the son of a lesser-known family of a small, faraway domain. As you must now live like a noble, you must learn to walk like one too, and that starts with this line. I can walk in a straight line, I'm not a baby. Alright then, show me. He scoffs as he says that. How hard could this possibly be? I confidently take my first step right on the line as I begin to trace it. But my stance is already faltering on the second step. I'm forced to lean to the right before sticking my arms out as counterbalance. After a couple seconds, I find my center. However, the tail throws my hips out with its erratic thrashing again. I'm forced to take my next step while fighting against its movements. I thought I was getting better, but sticking to an established path with my feet together is proving to be more of a challenge than expected. The tail yanks me off the mark more times than I'd like to admit before I totter to the end of the line. There. See? Yes, I see very well. Okay, my ego is getting more than a little bruised now. Agnar? Yes? Now what? Well, are you done? I do my best not to scowl. Done with what? I walked the line, didn't I? I'm not convinced. Do it 2 more times.
Bitch! Bitch! No ma'am, no ham, no turkey. No ma'am, no ham, no turkey. I know you did not insult. I know you did not insult us. I know you did not just insult us. In the wise words of Brandon Rogers, it's time to lick some ass. I take a sharp inhale through my nose and huff. He didn't have to say it like that. But as I'm told, and walk the line twice more. Try to put my arms down and to will my tail to stay still, but no luck. Each attempt is worse than the last. I return to Agnar. He looks far from impressed, and I can't keep up my bravado any longer. Do you feel like that went well? I sigh and scratch the back of my furry neck. I'll admit that was more difficult than I would have thought. It wasn't very good. I didn't think it would be so hard, but it's just a line in the dirt. Shouldn't we do something more to trigger my feline reflexes or something? Do you think I made that task simple because I was going easy on you? Well, I mean, we've barely started your training. I have to see how you carry yourself first before I can even determine what's throwing off your coordination. I don't even know what Sylvings look like. Not really. I can't picture how you carried yourself before, how a Sylving is meant to. I don't doubt you were fine before, but you're a lion now.
Your body has changed. There are going to be differences neither of us can anticipate. But the one thing I do know is how a deer should walk. However you may think of me, you must at least trust that I know what I'm doing. Otherwise, what's the point of me teaching you? You can't pretend you know better than I do how a lion is meant to carry themselves, or how to get you to that point. Because you don't. If you did, you wouldn't need my help. My hands fidget with the hem of my shirt, and I look away. His pointed words sting worse than my claws ever did, and I can't bring myself to reply. What's worse is that I can't even say that he's wrong. I don't know anything about this world, its people, or even how to be like them. The big wolf sighs, walks over and places a comforting hand on my shoulder. I can understand how training on something so simple can feel like I'm babying you. But if it wasn't so important, we wouldn't be doing it. I can't make you trust me, Aaron, but I'm asking you to give me a chance. I want to go ahead and adapt to this place already. I wanted to skip ahead to the fun part because of this crazy journey, but reality just isn't that simple. I let out a heavy sigh, feeling embarrassed now for even putting up a fuss. It's my own fault for putting unfair expectations on Agnar. Looking up to the big wolf, I shake off my inner thoughts and put my stubborn pride to the side. Okay, I'll follow your training, no question. Thank you. Agnar moves back to the lion standing in front of me with his hands outstretched. Let's try this again. I'll help you through each step. I follow him, keeping my eyes on the ground to watch my step, and hover my hands above his just in case I trip. Agnar leads the way with slow, cautious steps. His stride is longer than mine, so even though he's going backwards, I'm forced to take more ambitious steps to keep up. Look at me, not the ground. Simply feel the ground beneath your feet. Doing as he tells me, I keep my eyes glued to his face. He's wearing a serious look again, his eyes fully focused on my steps. I wonder if he's aware of how serious his face looks when he's concentrating like that. For each step I make, it gets a bit easier. The claws on my toes drag against the ground a few times, but it's not so bad. We walk down the line and back, and I look up at Agnar as we finish the second round. You did good, Aaron. Your step is a noticeable improvement already. Now, turn around and hold your back straight. Here, let me show you. Oh, hiya. Don't worry about it. I turn my back to him, feeling his hand rest on my shoulder, but then his other hand presses against the small of my back to adjust my posture. His hand moves down, pressing dangerously low on my back. You need to keep your back straight. Keep your chin up, surveying your surroundings, and relax. His voice goes right in my ear with his furry chin rubbing it, making it flick. I knew he would be close when guiding me, but not this close. I put my hand up and brush his muzzle away, inadvertently rubbing it, and try to play it off by scratching behind my big round ears. You're losing your focus. Don't get distracted. Sorry, but having you right on my ear tickled a lot. Could you move your head a little? My apologies. I didn't realize that. He adjusts his head a bit higher up now. It's not directly in my ear anymore, but it's still pretty close. When my posture slips, he again uses his control over me to nudge it back into position. You seem to slouch a lot. Did you usually carry yourself like this before? I mean, yeah, I guess. That's not good for your back. You need to straighten up, like you've been roped to a wooden plank. I've heard that one before, but this is the first time failing to be proper has ever had any consequences. Now keep it like that as you walk. It feels odd walking with someone pressing my back like that. I have to hold it against his push at the same time as I walk forward. But it does make things easier. It's like something within my body just clicks as I move. You know, I needed some time adjusting to how I carried myself in the past, too. He regales me with the tale as we walk up and down the line over and over again, him keeping a firm grip on my shoulder. I used to specialize in bows and daggers when I first started out my training. I didn't have to worry about how I held myself. This is back when I was young and hadn't grown so large yet. I took to them naturally and never used anything else. He sighs, slowing his pace. But as I grew older, I had to change my weapons out when my teacher put me on heavy weapons training. At the time, he said it was so I could maintain good form in the future. I thought I knew better and went against his orders. I was rather stubborn back then. My body developed and the equipment I preferred no longer provided the same results because I had grown too big and clumsy. I relented and did as my master told me, but by then I had missed my chance to make a smooth transition. Do you know what weapon I disliked the most, which I was told I had to use? Before I can answer, we turn around, making me focus back on keeping my footing. Great swords, claymores, and broadswords. My feet stumble for a moment, but Agnar holds me steady with little effort. Really? I wouldn't have guessed you carry such a big sword now. Well, it's because I refused to embrace change. I wanted to stick to the tricks and tactics I knew already. I was such a stubborn boy. I was very confident in the skills I had, and was sure I could do no better. And so I learned bad technique after bad technique because I insisted on training on my own, rather than carry the sword my teacher gave me. I just couldn't accept the hand life had dealt me. I wanted to go back to the dagger and bow so badly, but I had grown to thrice my old size. Those kinds of weapons are more suited to those with average build and height. My teacher knew it would never work out for me, long before I did. Agnar steps to the side of the line, walking alongside me with only a ginger touch. It's tricky remembering not to slouch while also listening to his tale, but I don't want to disappoint him or miss out on it. I used to be the best of my class, but because I was too obsessed with what I had, my technique fell further and further behind the others in the group, not to mention how poorly I matched up to those who were trained with heavy weapons. But this is all to say that it's important to do things right the first time. It is many times harder to unlearn a bad habit than it is to learn a new one. Thankfully, I had a patient teacher. We turn round at the end of the line again, and I'm just now noticing he's no longer holding me. I didn't even realize he had let go. One cannot be afraid to adapt to the world or the way their body changes. You can't force fate to change, you can only roll with the punches. I turn round and walk the line for the last time, and for once, I think I actually managed to walk it just right, though the tail sort of spoils it by moving around still. There you go, you've made a marked improvement already. I step off the line and puff my chest out proudly. Good enough to pass for a noble? It's better, but we've only just started. Now let's move on to the next exercise. Oh, come on, not you too! What's wrong? I thought you were excited to do more. Yeah, but can't we take a break first? My head is still reeling from Mikkel's history lesson. That's a good reason. We'll take a quick break before we continue your training. Oh, thank God! I make my way to the shade of a nearby tree next to a broken wooden fence. There's some logs stacked nearby, so it gives the space a nice secluded feeling. Agnar stands on the ground in the warm sun with a wide stance and arms crossed as he looks around. I follow his example and soak in my surroundings, taking in the view of green grass and thick forest in the distance. I look up the tree, seeing the sunlight flicker between the leaves. Lowering my gaze, the old rotting barn takes my full attention. The roof is missing in places, and a shutter barely hangs on by a single rusty hinge. I'm surprised a building so run down can still stand. I tilt my head back and close my eyes, enjoying the cool cool breeze and the sound of birds singing coming from above. After a while, Agnar approaches me and interrupts my peaceful relaxation. During our little exercise, I noticed that your tail's movements is rather unruly. Yeah, it's been like that since day one and never listens to me no matter what I try. You have no control over it? None. I've never had a tail before. It's pretty new to me still. I know cats are meant to use them for balance, but humans have always gotten by just fine without them. I hope you're not thinking about clipping it too. What? No. God, no. Why would I do that? I just have trouble figuring out what to do with it. I know I need it. I'm not desperate enough to amputate it. I sigh and allow myself to calm down. The more I try to take control of it, the more it freaks out. It's like it's trying to sabotage me. That would explain why you struggle to keep your hips in line with your feet as you move. But as you correctly pointed out, it is something you need, just as much as your arms, legs, or ears. It is there to help with balance, as well as to provide fluid motion. But it is also connected to your emotion, like your muzzle or your ears. Your tail is a way of expressing yourself, consciously or not. I've picked up on your anxiety and impatience ever since we arrived. I thought you're simply tired after Lord Mikkel's lecture, but I see that's not it. Is there something wrong, Aaron? I've been telling myself I'm fine, that I can handle this, and that it doesn't bother me, but I can't deny how emotionally exhausting this has become. I rub my eyes with a soft palm pad to banish a tear before it forms. Only when it's clear do I look up to Agnar. No, yes, a little. I still don't know what to make of all this. This place, the weird things about me, magic and all that, it's a lot. The fact that this is just my life now, this body is weird and doing weird things, and even with it, I still don't fit in. I'm just feeling so overwhelmed because this body isn't... My fists clench, feeling the dulled claws rub against the inside of my palms. It hurts to bear my issues like this. I can't look him in the eye. I don't want him to see me getting misty-eyed. I'm not me anymore. Listen, Aaron. I went through something similar when I was growing up. I know your situation is different, and I can't begin to imagine what you're going through. Your body has changed so much. But I can tell you one thing. You still have your body. These paws are your paws. This tail is your tail. Even if they seem strange to you, like they don't quite fit, they belong to you. Nobody else can make use of them. Nobody else can claim the right to possess your body. It's all you, Aaron. It's new, but it's still you. It's really weird to think about it like that. I kept calling it the tail this whole time, but I never really thought of it as truly mine. My tail, huh? Take hold of it in the middle, petting the fur down to the fluffy tip as I lay it on my lap. Such a strange sensation, the haptic feedback of an entirely new body part. I just stare at my tail as it makes its own small flicks of movement. Could I try something? I have an idea that might help. I'm sure. What do you have in mind? I want to see if we can't stimulate its muscles. Maybe we can hone your feline instincts, give you a better understanding of it. If I were to pinch the tip and you focused on how it reacts, you might have some control over it. Pinching my tail with his size? Just be careful when you do it. You're pretty strong and might crush whatever bones I have in there. The wolf just rolls his eyes sheepishly. It's just a pinch. I'm not going to tear it off. It'll just be enough for it to flinch. Be sure to pay close attention to the sensation of it. He gently holds the tip of my tail between two fingers. You'll probably feel some pain when I do this, but you'll be all right. I look away, wincing in anticipation. I feel a brief, sharp jolt of pain coursing up my tail and the length of my spine. My tail automatically leaps away, snaking away in an evasive maneuver. That's good. Let's keep going. Concentrate on the feeling in your tail. I hunch forward on my paws and knees, trying to focus on the movement rather than the pain. It's not a pleasant sensation. The longer we go, the more confused I get by all the cascading impulses. Mercifully, Agnar lets go of it before too long, and when it flops out of his hand, it hits him in the nose in retaliation. It springs up in the air with the tuft of fur poofing out like a cobra making a threatening display before laying itself on the green grass. I can still feel the dull pain that I share in its grumpiness. My poor tail, whom has been sorely abused by the villainous wolf. I may have pinched you a bit too hard. Are you alright? Maybe a little, yeah. But your tail seems to move more in line with your feelings. That's good. Now, try to find that feeling in your muscles again. The action it took when I pinched it. See if you can make it happen by your own will. The feeling of the pinch still lingers in some of my muscles, so I focus on that to try and locate them. I can feel the grass beneath it and the wind blowing through the fur. I can feel the way it's coiled, and I can picture in my head the position it's in. Try to reach out to what I felt earlier, flexing the muscles in my lower back. Come on, move. Nothing. Doesn't even twitch. Taking a deep breath, I try again. Nobody gets anything right on the first try. Alright, picture it like my arms. From my shoulders down to my wrist, through my elbow and ending in my fingers. It's not the same, of course, but I need some kind of blueprint to guide me here. Find the muscles in my back, follow where they join with my tail, continue onward into uncharted territory. I want to move my tail. I want to move my tail. I can do this. I'm in control. I wave my hand. Wave my tail. Up and down, up and down. Do it, come on. Clenching my fists and baring my fangs, I put all I have into my back. A pulse of determination surging down my spine to just move already. The tail suddenly throws up in the air, standing high and straight before it relaxes down again. You did it, Aaron. I did. He gives me a congratulatory head pat, ruffling my hair. Sorry about that. It's a bit of a habit I've picked up from cub-sitting Ole. But you did great. You took control of it by your own will. It's a small step, but an important one. I have no doubt that you'll have full control of it before you know it. Or need it, hopefully. If you want to, I have a few more ideas that we can try. Please, no more pinching. I clutch my tail to my chest protectively, like a darling baby that's been mishandled. No more pinching or pain, I promise. We spend time just messing around, trying to provoke more of a reaction from my tail. Thought comparing it to my arm was a good idea at first, but really, it's more like my spine has been extended, which I suppose it has been. It's kind of fun moving it around now. It's like having a snake dancing with how fluid it is. Good, your movement is getting better. Now, keep trying it still. It's actually a bit harder to do that. I have to anticipate the way it wants to move on its own and apply counter motion in precise amounts. It takes my complete focus, but at least I can keep it frozen in its current place. If not just in any place. It's also kind of twitchy, like it's hooked up on caffeine. Or Mikkel with the Sylving trinket. You're doing a great job, Aaron. I think that should be enough practice with your tail for today. Now that you have better control over it, we can go back to practicing your stride and posture. Shouldn't take more than a few hours. I nearly fall over hearing that. A few hours? And he wasn't joking. We really did spend hours just walking around on the training ground. Can't maintain my noble posture anymore, no matter how many reminders Agnar gives me. My back just hurts too much, so that's when we call it quits. The last set of exercises he has me do involve yoga, or something like yoga. Has me balancing on one foot while holding my arms in a Y shape. It's actually really hard to keep from wobbling, even with my tail pitching in for a change. I have never worked out this much in a single sitting in all my life, not even for gym class. Not becoming a lion would give me more stamina and agility, but my whole body is still out of breath. It's difficult to continue with how much my back and leg muscles ache. Exactly. Don't lock your knee and just land on your foot. Let your entire leg catch your weight. He's standing close, hands hovering up over my waist as I hop from foot to foot. It's slow going and tedious. I barely have the strength for it at this point. Please, can we be done now? Almost. Just try holding it a bit. I My knees give out and I fully expect to faceplant in the dirt, but instead I am met with a face full of fur. Agnar catches me in his arms as my face buries itself in his chest hair. His torso feels firm and warm. I quickly pull away. Yes, you're right. That's enough training for one day. He puts me back on my feet with ease. It was like being swaddled in a heating blanket when Agnar held me in his arms. I'm still hot in the face and ears. Sorry about that. My knee gave out. My legs were too weak to catch myself. Think nothing of it. I'm here to catch you when you stumble. After all, I'm impressed by how long you held out during our training session. You didn't twist your ankle when you fell, did you? I give my foot a few twists. Aside from being tired, I don't feel any pain. No, feels alright. Just need a minute to rest my legs. They feel all jelly-like right now. Good. Then we'll leave when you're ready. Agnar turns to the sky, shielding his eyes as he gazes towards the setting sun. We've made good progress today. I'm afraid to say I've lost track of time. Like a certain fox with glasses? Maybe. Do you know what time it is? It's around the 13th hour. The what? The 13th hour. The sun is setting. They must tell time differently here. Mikkel really should have started with the basic things like this. I'll have to add it to the curriculum. Sigh. I'm not sure what you mean by the 13th hour. 13 after what? The count begins when the sun rises and naturally changes with the seasons. It means that there have been 13 hours of daylight so far. Look up at the sun. It's already an orange disk, so it doesn't hurt too much to look at. Do you guys look up at the sky to tell time? Our ancestors have done this since the dawn of time, so it's natural to learn to read the sun. Sun in the shadows. I feel a sense of dread coming on. I'm gonna have to learn this too, aren't I? Wolf gives me an apologetic smile, pretty much confirming it. No! Don't worry, I'll make sure to remind Lord Mikkel to go through it tomorrow. Don't have to worry about that today. Today was hard. Tell you what, you've earned a treat. I'll ask Rum to fix you something special tonight. I smile. He's right. Today was hard, but I persevered and came out on top. After a day like this, I've definitely earned a treat. Would it be alright if I go there with you? I would like to stay and eat there this time. Going back to the house doesn't sound all too appealing right now. I feel like I've spent way too much time there. I've been working all day, so I might as well live a little and be there when it's full. Are you sure? There's probably many there already having supper. We might not even be able to get a table with how crowded it usually gets. I know, but I'm honestly looking forward to that. I want to see how it's like, and you might not even notice me in the crowd. I had a great time in the inn yesterday. Makes me want to go back there and have a good time if I can. Brum also said something about Gertrude working there in the evening, so I'd like to meet her too. We can see how well my walking holds up on the way there, to see how much I've improved. Well, as long as you believe you can manage it, then I don't see why not. We return to the village and weave our way through the streets. The evening light casts long shadows and the crystal lamps aren't lit yet. We get to the street with the Golden Hills Inn, having only passed a few others. My legs are pretty tired, but I can definitely feel that my stride has improved. I didn't recognize it before, but I had a wide and awkward gait, like I'd been riding a pony for too long. There's still some swaying at times and my tail doesn't always behave itself, but at least I'm upright and stable. Pretty lucky for getting so much help from the big wolf. Don't know how far I could have gotten if I'd been on my own.
It's time to drink water. It's time to drink water. It's time to drink water. It's time to drink water.
No, leave his nipples alone. Just as we're about to hop up the steps, a rabbit bursts out the door. He wears an apron like Jacob, the traces of white powder stuck on it, about the same height as well, being just a little shorter than me. I remember that they talked about Jacob's dad yesterday, so this must be him. I can see some gray fur patterns on him, having some resemblance. He looks straight up at the big wolf before his piercing stare drifts away. Evening, Soren. I heard your pretzels are selling well this year. That's good. The rabbit's nose curls a bit, blatantly ignoring the wolf standing before him. His eyes then bore straight through me. I flinch and shrink away. His cold stare scares me somewhat. Can I give him a bitchy voice? Can I please give him a bitchy voice? Can I give him a bitchy voice?
You're that twitchy little out of towny everyone can't shut up about.
Oh, wait, no, that's not a bitchy voice. That's not a bitchy voice.
You're that twitchy little out of towny everyone can't shut up about.
He looks me up and down, seemingly unimpressed by what he's seeing. He's shorter than me, but his attitude and powerful build are enough of a warning not to mess with him. The grumpy rabbit rolls his eyes and dons the most smug, unimpressed look possible as he stares me down.
Never heard of your family name before. Son of a Thane, I suppose. Huh, nothing but a low-born wannabe spunk.
Excuse me? Soren. Agnar takes a step towards Soren, towering over him, but the rabbit is completely unfazed by Agnar's warning chide. Instead, he keeps his focus locked on me.
I don't care what it's like where you're from. Here, lions have some self-respect. Ours don't
Butcher!
their manes.
I reach behind my ears to feel my narrow mohawk-like mane. I guess lions usually have more fur around their heads, but it's not like I chose this. It just came out like this when I woke up.
Where's your clown outfit?
If this is all you have to say, then it's better you leave before I make you leave.
Cram it, Wolf. You're just this low-born's guardian
Bitch!
for the weak.
You have no right to belittle him like that. You have no idea what he's been through.
If he's with you, then nothing but trouble.
Agnar stands firm and starts growling loud as he shows his teeth, his hackles raised and muscles tensed, as if he's on the verge of punching Soren right in the muzzle. Soren, you can't keep spitting on everyone I associate with just because of your beef with me.
And stop wasting my son's time with all your flights of fancy and leave him be. And stop wasting my time as well.
Hi, Brum. Before this turns into a brawl between the two of them, a familiar big bear opens the door and greets us warmly. Oh, Lord Aaron and Agnar, good to see you two this evening. He gives me a curt nod before stepping outside. He's carrying 2 sacks of what I can only assume is flour over one shoulder.
We're gonna tune him
Here you
into
go,
rabbit
Soren.
stew.
Same as always. OMG, hi, bear. Why are you twirling log? Same as always. Brum passes down the sacks, the rabbit hefting them with ease, one over each shoulder. Quick as he came, he's already hurrying down the street, huffing as he trudges away from the inn. Man, what a grump. I can see now why Agnar wanted to avoid him so much yesterday. He's a real piece of work. Brum catches the door as it was lazily swinging shut. He dusts off his paws to clear them of any remaining flour and regards us. So, what will the two of you like to eat? I'll see if there's a clean kettle laying around somewhere. No, not this time, Brum. Lord Aaron would like to dine here this evening. Hey, I'm glad to hear it. My cooking must really be something, huh? And I'm afraid all the tables are taken, and I don't think any will be available for a while. This is the busiest time of the day. There are 2 seats by the counter, but I'm sure our lord here would rather have a proper table to eat at. What's wrong with sitting there? I mean, the table would be more comfortable, but it's not like it doesn't have its own charm. I don't mind sitting at the counter. I'm honestly not that picky about where I sit. That's what I like to hear. Glad to see a lion like yourself ain't afraid to get comfortable with us simpler folk. If you insist, then we'll take our meals by the counter today. All right, come right in, and I'll lead you 2 to your seats. And that is... And I want to try to identify all the species here. Lamb, rat, horse, boar, ram, I'm guessing dog, wolf, and I can't tell what that is. I like how all of them passed the vibe check. I know, they're all so cute. They're passing the vibe check. Of course, I'd start crying. He leads us around the crowded seating area to the bar. Already I'm kind of overwhelmed by all the smells, sights, and sounds inside. So many different entrees, animal kinds, partying, drinking, and laughter. Some tables are laughing, others weeping and commiserating. All in all, it's really loud. I also can't help but notice just how many deer are the size of Agnar and Brum. Okay, maybe not all the way to Brum's size, but still, the majority may be what I consider normal, but giants are far from uncommon. After Brum has led us to 2 vacant spots on the end of the bar, he walks behind the counter and makes his way into the kitchen. I'm sitting at the end of the row, leaving Agnar to take the seat next to me. He wasn't kidding, this place is really packed. It's nothing compared how it'll be when the hunt begins. While we wait for Brum to return, I turn in my seat and take to people watching. Try to be subtle about it, not focusing on one person for too long. The fuck? Hang on. The fuck is that? Politics. Gross. Men and women, short and tall, thin and thick, hairy and scaly, all under one roof. Can't even count how many there are in the crowd. They really are a bunch of party animals all having a good time enjoying the place and its drinks. Looking around to take in the revelry, my eyes pick up on a set of golden flowing locks weaving through the crowd like the wind. Turn back as I hear Brum come out of the kitchen wearing his usual big smile. All right, my lord, do you know what you'd like, or would you like to hear what we got on the menu? Didn't really think about what I want. I'm pretty much down for whatever is given to me. What would you recommend? Is our house special? Well, you saw I just got my bread for the day. If you'd fancy, I can carve out a loaf and make a bread bowl lapscouse. Agnar's ears flick upright. He sits up straighter and snaps his head as if he just spotted the world's biggest tennis ball. You made lapscouse? Agnar's tail is wagging like crazy, hitting my hips with its fluff. I just really love this dish. Yeah, I did. Got a good deal for the meat from the butcher recently. Stocked up on the fixin' since it's been a while. I know how much you like my lapscouse. Sure, let's order that. Alright, so that's 2 bowls. Make it 3. Yeah, of course, it'll be right out. And which one for drinks? I'll take my usual. You got it. And you, Lord Aaron? I'll take the cider I had last time. Reaches under the bar and places 2 tankards on the counter. Then he turns on the spot to snatch up a white jug from the shelf. Missing a bead, he pops off the cork with the claw and pours my cider from a great height. Then he puts the second tankard against the tap on the small barrel set on the lowest shelf. With a satisfying sound of liquid fill the tankard and he hands the beer to Agnar. Sounds like you only ever eat Brum's cooking. Hey, like I said, he's the best cook I know. But more importantly, a great man. He opens up to everyone that wanders through the door, regardless of how bad their troubles have been. Even that grumpy old rabbit? Now that would be the day. He stifles a chuckle, taking a swig at his tankard. By the elders, Brum's tried. But there's no changing Soren or getting on his good side. Their personalities couldn't be any more different. Still, he's probably the only person who doesn't go out of his way to insult. I actually can't remember ever seeing Soren yell at him. Agnar spots something in the crowd, no doubt benefiting from the fact he can see clear over most folk. He waves a positive to flag someone down. Gertrude, come here. What voice should I give her? What voice should I give her? I'm thinking Southern Diner. No, because I don't want to give her the Chelsea voice. I don't want to make another Chelsea. I'm busy, hun. I'll be there in a jiffy. So the golden wisp swimming through the crowd is the fabled beauty of Dalset. I see a glimpse of her back as she turns. She's a lot shorter than I'd imagined. She has an hourglass figure, complemented by long, luscious, wavy blonde hair that seems to float through the air. Brum described her as something of a seductress, but I'm afraid she'll have no luck with me. She's got the moves, though, I'll give her that. She flows through the crowd with such elegance, you'd think she was dancing. Every turn, a pop and lock of the hips, every twist is accompanied by a smoldering stare. As I continue to stare, hoping to get a chance glance at her face, Agnar leans in and whispers, "She's quite the beauty, isn't she? Must be hard to look away when you first see her." Or, yeah, she's very pretty. You better guard your heart. She may be without a mate, but she doesn't seem interested to have one. She turns away everyone who confesses their love to her. That I don't have to worry about. I'm sure she's nice, but my type is men. Sorry, Gertrude. You just don't get on her bad side. I've lost count of how many patrons she's thrown right out the door with her own paws. Her? Throwing people? With her size? Are you serious? I am. She may look delicate, but she'll knock you flat if you don't treat her right. Seriously, what are these guys eating? What sort of steroids are they putting in the water? And can I get some? My God. I scan the crowd to try and find Gertrude again, but she seems to have disappeared. I do, however, spot a few more looky-loos staring in my direction. So, how many of the people in here do you know? I'd say less than half of them. I've lived in Dalset a good while, but there are a lot of out-of-town folk in here today. Everyone's turning up for the hunt, and we've already received more than previous years, and more still to come. At this rate, it's going to be standing room only in a few days. We need to get our dinners early before the rush. Speaking of food, I wish we had ours already. I'm starving. He said it'd be right up, but given how packed it is, it must be taking more time than it normally should. I don't blame the delay. A lot of this crowd is carrying weapons like Agnar. Given how noble he is, I assume the mercenary profession is more upstanding than the movies would have one believe. Their weapons seem like they're more meant for self-defense than killing. Thanks to that and the way they dress, I actually feel rather safe around them. Gertrude passes by again, unloading a tray of plates onto a nearby table. Gertrude, come over here already. All right, I'm coming. Calm your tail. Whew, my hair will be ruined if this keeps going. How am I supposed to keep up my appearance like this? So, what did you 2 dolls need? Hey, yo. She is rocking it. I don't know how to feel about this. It's giving God. It's giving Letty, I think was her name, from The Greatest Showman. Who says only men can have beards? Exactly. Let her live her life. So, what did you two dolls need? Beard! Just to gaze at your bewitching face and introduce you to my new charge. Beard! Oh, so this is the foreign land that you found. This is Lord Aaron Sandre. I was just telling him about you, in fact. He's very keen to meet you.
Self-voicing disabled.
Aren't they all? She swishes her beard with her hand, the only way one normally would toss their hair. I can't take my eyes off it. My brain struggles to see past it, not knowing if it's a man wearing a dress or if women can get such thick and developed beards like this. I don't know how am I supposed to react to this? I don't know. Stop staring at her beard, you fool, and say something. Pardon me, my lord, but are you honestly staring at my girls? As much as I do like showing them, a fine guy like myself can't just let her twins get ogled over like that. What? No! What I'm staring at is all that hair you call a beard! Prying my eyes up to meet hers is like trying to open a bank vault with a crowbar. Beard? No, I'm sorry, it's just your beautiful ma'am! No, pull up! I was just so surprised. I heard the stories, but I didn't hear that. My eyes dart back to her beard, and by Herculean might, I pull them back up again. That should be even more beautiful in person. We're gonna stop it for the ad. Want to break from the ads? She continues to stare me down expectantly. Come on, think. What would the beauty of Dowsett like to hear? A compliment about her appearance? Something, anything, say anything at all. Your hair looks great. It's so big and a lot. I think whatever god exists in this world that I said hair, not beard. She continues to stare. It's still not enough. She's gonna smush me into Clatterfrank pulp. Come on, say something else. Your dress is really nice. It looks beautiful on you. And your mane, I wish I could grow mine out like that, but it's such high maintenance with a beard. No! I was doing so good. Why did I have to say beard? I give up. My brain's fried to a crisp and I don't know what to say anymore. I accept my fate, ready to get thrown out the door by the bearded woman in a short second. To my relief, her expression softens, or at least I hope so. It's hard to tell with most of her face obscured. Well, I'm glad someone finally noticed. I've been trying out a new oil I bought recently. It's wonderful. Gives my locks the likeness of a cloud. Most men don't appreciate just how much work goes in my appearance. I'm glad someone with more fine taste can say it. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. I get to live another day. I'm sorry for my late greeting, Lord Aaron. I'm Gertrude, the maiden of the Golden Hills Inn. Pleasure to meet you. Agnar, honey, you should warn a girl before meeting such a sweet talker of a noble. You know how important first impressions are. He was so quiet at first, I thought he was only here to gawk at me. You always leave them speechless, Gertrude. Some of them could stand to be a little more speechless, honestly. Most of these brutes say such vulgar things at times. She fluffs up her beard, making it more bouncy and fuller. She flutters her eye, or was it a wink? I can't tell with the other eyes covered with her long bangs. I simply adore your mane, by the way. Very avant-garde. Oh, thank you? After Soren's comments, I'm a little hesitant to accept the compliment. But if I want to keep my bones on my body, I should probably just roll with it. You should find more men like him on your trips to the woods. This place needs all the class it can get. We're gonna leave off here tonight. I gotta stop before I scream. We were about to die. Stay safe, have a good night, and I will see you all tomorrow.